Just the other day, we received our very first speculation map for this year's Halloween Horror Nights from Horror Night Nightmares on Twitter. We're going to be going over what's on the map as well as our own personal thoughts coming up next.
What's up everyone, and welcome back to the channel that takes you through the fog with our very first speculation map video of the new year. But before we do begin with all of that, if you guys are new here to the channel, we talk about all things Halloween Horror Nights. So if you guys want to stay updated with tips and tricks and anything announced for this year, make sure that you guys are subscribed as well as clicking that bell icon so you can be notified when we post new videos. Also, be sure to give this video a thumbs up as well as taking it a step further by checking us out on Patreon. All of that does help us out to be able to continue to create more and more HHN content just like this one for all of you. But now that we have all of that out of the way, let us go ahead and begin.
We want to start off by saying two things. First of all, this video is going to be full of opinions about the speculation map and our opinions, of course. And then also that this speculation map was made by HHN Nightmares. And while they are a very reliable source, we know that a lot of their speculation maps in the past have been very close to what the event ends up looking like. It is not an official Universal or Horror Nights account. So take it all with a grain of salt, and this also will probably change throughout the year. But with that being said, here is the first version of the speculation map for HHN31.
We have Universal Classic Monsters The Mummy versus the Wolfman, followed by El Chupacabra, as well as Seaside Village and Underground Creatures.
Then we have Fear Street, The Evil Dead, The Last of Us, and Halloween.
And then we finally finish it off with The Curse of Pandora's Box and The Weeknd, plus The Lagoon Show. Now, we did create a poll over on our Instagram where we asked those who is excited for this lineup and who wasn't. And personally, ourselves, we kind of feel for this lineup, honestly. But that is going to say that this is just the first version of the map. This is very early on in the year for speculations and all, so any of that could change at any moment. We cannot say much about the original houses as of right now, since we really don't know much about them or their storylines or whatever they really are. However, we have heard a rumor that one of them might possibly be related to the Boris Schuster storyline, which we both are big fans of Case Files and the Boris Schuster storyline and everything that happened there. So this would be one of our favorites depending on which one that is and if it is going to happen.
The Classic Monsters house featuring the Wolfman and the Mummy sounds incredible. We honestly were expecting a Classic Monsters house, so we weren't super surprised to see that, but we were honestly expecting to see a creature from the Black Lagoon house, which we were really excited for that. But this is a really good sign that the Classic Monsters are going to keep returning year after year, and eventually maybe we will get creature. But the Mummy and the Wolfman house, the aesthetic for that will look really, really cool. I can already tell this is going to be a really beautiful house.
Of course, very excited to see another Classic Monsters house make its way into the lineup, especially the Mummy and the Wolfman. But we're moving on to our next house in the lineup, and that is Fear Street. Fear Street, we pretty much knew it was going to come to the event. We know that HHN and Netflix has a great relationship with bringing properties to the event, and we knew that it was between Stranger Things or Fear Street, but of course Fear Street came out last year, so that would probably be the way to go, and it'll be a good house. We think it's going to be featuring all three of the films into like, what was it, 94, 78, and 66? Right? Maybe.
16 something.
1666. But we think it's going to show all of those films inside of the house, so that'll be neat. And of course, it's in a soundstage, so this is going to be a very large house itself. And next on the list is The Evil Dead.
Now it does look like this is going to be the original The Evil Dead from 1981. We did have Evil Dead back in HHN23, but that was the 2013 film as that came out that year. So that was the remake of The Evil Dead, the 1981 film. Personally, I'm very excited for this. I never got to see the house in 23, and I really love both of The Evil Dead and Evil Dead Remake. And I think this would be a great house. I know it is like a cult classic and a lot of old school horror fans will really like this house. Brian's never seen it.
I haven't seen it yet, but I'm sure it's going to be on the list for us to see this year.
Yes. I definitely think the setting of it being in a cabin will be a really good house setting.
Yeah.
And I honestly am looking at this as being one of the top 5 houses for this year's event.
Yeah. And moving on to The Last of Us, which is a horror video game that's going to be created into a haunted house for this year's event, which we've actually heard a lot of mixed reviews on this. We've heard people who don't like this at all, and then we've heard people who would absolutely love to see this house. But when it comes to us, we are actually more on the side of interested to see how this house plays out into the event. We've never experienced a video game type house ourselves at the event. We believe there was one back in the day. Not too sure, I gotta look back into our research files for that. But there is a lot of horror games out there, and there's a lot of good ones, maybe even some better than The Last of Us itself. And if this one receives positive feedback, that means we could be seeing a good increase in those types of houses come to the event, which would be nice because it's more content for HHN, of course, but like I said, it's very split on who likes it and who don't. So it all depends on when it becomes a house.
The next 2 on the list are Halloween and The Curse of Pandora's Box. Now, Halloween does show up at the event every other year or so, so this one was due to show up, and we have had recent movies, which it looks like this might be the 2018 movie, and then the more recent one, Halloween Kills, follows up right after that, so we might get both of those.
Yeah, potentially.
There's not really too much to say about it. It's a Halloween house.
Then we also have The Curse of Pandora's Box, which we really don't know anything about. They've never had it in Orlando. However, they've had it at Hollywood multiple times. In fact, the past 2 events at Hollywood, they've had The Curse of Pandora's Box. So that really doesn't excite us for this house since it's been going on for a while, and it seems like it's gonna be the remake or like a reuse of the ones from Hollywood. So not too excited about it. Plus, we just really don't know much about it.
And finally, and probably the most controversial one of all, is The Weeknd. And The Weeknd himself was actually on Twitter kind of teasing this announcement as well. So there is a very solid sign that we're going to get this house this year. We're gonna straight up just say we're not really excited for this.
Yeah, not the biggest fans. I mean, like I said, it's controversial. You got people who love it, people who don't. We don't really listen to The Weeknd's music much. I mean, there's like a song or two that we like, but other than that, he's not really the biggest artist on our list to listen to music to. So we wonder like what the house could bring. We know it's of course gonna be like original concepts from his music videos and stuff like that. So we're not against it. We're interested to see how it turns out to be, but this is definitely not on the top of our list.
Yeah, and to add to that, for people like us who go to the event multiple times throughout the year, if this is a very music-heavy house, that music, hearing it over and over and over again, may get a little annoying.
Yeah, and it's not like the music that you hear when you go through the arches or like any original music made in the houses. This is like music you can hear in the car or like walking a store or anything. So you don't really want to hear anything on the outside come to the event, but we're gonna give it a shot. We're gonna see. We're just not so interested in that. And speaking of The Weeknd, if we actually take a look at the map here, you notice that the layout for it is kind of different. We notice that The Weeknd's house is located where the Fast and Furious entrance is. So that means we have a new location for a house this year. And if you look at it, we don't have the Shrek building anymore. Currently, they are going through construction for their new attraction at that location, so it doesn't seem like we're gonna have a house in that usual spot. Other than that, all of the houses seem to be in their normal locations, so that's the only big difference that we saw, or big change, I should say. But the biggest thing from this is that you notice they don't have a stage show listed. Now, like I said, it is the first version of the map, so that means that things are gonna change as the coming months get closer to HHN. A good sign that we will get Fear Factor as a show is that they do have the Men in Black tent up, and that whole area was set off for demolition and stuff. I think they also announced that they canceled demolition plans, or at least delayed it for Fear Factor, so we don't see why they can't use it for this year's event, and maybe we can get a fan favorite back? Nightmare Fuel, maybe?
All right, so that was a look at the first version of the speculation map that we got the other day, as well as some of our thoughts on the different properties that were on there. Now, we will be doing a live on Tuesday the 22nd to go deeper into the speculation map, how we feel about it, to talk to you guys about how you feel about the speculation map. So if you're interested in that, be sure to go to the community tab on our channel page.
Once you go there, you'll see the most recent post that we have from the making of this video, where we ask who's going to be able to attend and which time you guys would like, either 8 p.m., 8:30 p.m., or 9 o'clock that night. It'll be around that time when we go live and all, but we're gonna go ahead and, just like Steph said, do brief discussion, actually a little more in-depth detail compared to this video with each of those properties, as well as things that we believe won't stay on the map and things that could possibly come into play. But we're gonna do all that Tuesday during the live. But that's gonna do it for us in today's video. If you guys enjoy this, be sure to give it a thumbs up, as well as leave a comment down below on what your thoughts and opinions are on this first version of the speculated map. We would like to know what you guys have for this year's speculation map, as well as things that maybe excited you or bummed you out. But until the next video, we will see you guys then, and cannot wait to catch you guys in the fog. Peace out, guys.
Bye.